kids on blankets for playing drums, for smoking pot. Okay, if you don't think that's Nazi shit, alright, so it was like 95 or 96, pretty blurry, 93 to 97. I got all these warrants and shit, this whole thing with the bank loan thing. I'm basically like wanting to hide out style, just lay low. So back then, there was hardly anybody blowing glass. I mean, it was brand spanking. I'm trying to remember the progression here. It started in the backyard in the southeast Portland house, and that's where I learned. And then the deal was, this guy is gonna teach me if I had the money to buy all the equipment. Something happened, like he was in and out of Eugene. He had some baby with some chick. I mean, and I think he was gay too. Just some weird insinuendo shit, or bi or whatever. But anyway, I'm trying to remember the progression of shops. Learning in that little shop, which is like, it was like in a greenhouse in a backyard. And I didn't work there much because it was somebody else's whole deal. And, you know, they were all on their shit. And they were kind of like, you know, the people that owned it weren't really trying to have a bunch of people using their shit, which, you know, you can understand. And their shit, you know, the whole back then, the whole thing was you had a box fan through a window, a cutting torch, like an oxyacetylene cutting torch, some tools that were made out of graphite and then had duct tape on them as handles, and a little wire thing that would grab, you could like slide and it would grab stuff. Or actually a lot of times they didn't have that fancy tool. They'd have tongs, actual like kitchen tongs. I can't really remember where my first shop was. Got no recollection. But so back in the day, where you sold this stuff was at the Portland Saturday market, which was Saturdays and Sundays at the waterfront. And I mean, there was some amazing stuff going on there, like drum circles and people just puffing and hanging out and selling glass, and you know, but the Nazis, that pissed the Nazis off. Like, I'll never forget the day the Nazis rolled in there in their fucking battle gear with their fucking clubs and hitting people, hitting kids on blankets for playing drums, for smoking pot. Okay, if you don't think that's Nazi shit. So the Nazis roll in there one day, just, I mean, a whole gang of them. And you know, you go over 2 blocks and there's people fucking shooting heroin and smoking crack and doing prostitution in the street. But the kids with the drums and the pot were the problem that the Nazis had to come crack their fucking skulls and all. Fuck those motherfuckers, man. Down there, the Portland Saturday market, throw out a blanket, open up a rifle case, and sell pipes. And I literally sold like every pipe that didn't crack. It was a rare time. I mean, back then there was some money to be made in the counterculture. You had glass blowing and tattooing and stripping, and all these things were like big money shit. I mean, you could be straight up like a rich person and shit, you know, but without all the fucking taxes. I was just learning this fucking thing. I traded my furniture to this chick. Now, this house was a fucking insane house. I mean, she would have fucking dudes over there. I saw this, and you know what? I would have preferred never to see this shit, but she used to use me as like security. She'd have these just creepy retard fucks, and they'd like sit in a pile of fucking dolls or stuffed animals, and she'd talk shit. I mean, we seriously need to start licensing childbirth. My lifestyle at that point was wake up, get stoned, watch cartoons. Oh, this is some fucking side note crazy shit. This fucking shit called, it was incense basically. And it was dragon's blood incense or some shit. Well, some fucking scamming piece of shit started selling this shit and calling it opium. Dragon's blood opium. And so all of a sudden, fucking like, everybody's smoking this shit. And it's like, you know, typically it's like a rock, and it's like you grind it up and you kind of sprinkle on your bud, right? So you're smoking weed already. It's like, it was always like, I think that's a little extra something, I think. So anyway, and then you just I started just throwing whole rocks in the pipe and just smoking those, and it does something. But it was not opium. It was fucking incense. I think it was some kind of sap off a tree or some shit, or I don't know. I ended up finding it randomly one day. Somebody that was like a little hippie type of person was like, that's blah blah blah. I'm like, what? Yeah, you did it at blah blah. I'm like, no shit. I went there, I bought some. I still feel bad about it because I basically just made some money before the whole thing blew up. And was all, you know, everybody knew about what was going on. That was just a weird little time in that time, like, you know, some little scam and liar, and a lot of people made a lot of fucking money because the shit would sell, an ounce would sell for like $5 or $10 or some shit, and they're selling it like it's weed, like a little, like a gram, you know, $10. Holy fuck, you know. The profit margin on that shit was fucking insane. And I was selling it to my friends, you know. And that, you know, that's one of the biggest problems I have with the drug war, is the way that this kind of bastardized friendships of people who do recreational drugs, right? I mean, all of a sudden you're, you know, just in this whole other universe of shit going on, and a lot of fake friends, basically. You know, like, everybody's your friend when you've got the best weed that sells itself. You know, everybody's calling you all the time. I mean, you know, the better the weed you had, the more exclusive the customer, the clientele. I mean, I had clientele that was pretty fancy. And it was a pretty fancy lifestyle. I wasn't really selling a lot of weed when I first started into the glass blowing. And that was mainly because of all the warrants and shit. I was like, fuck, I'm a pullover, and then I got no way of making it through a pullover. I'm just fucked. So, you know, I got to behave myself. But people keep calling, and it's like, I know people. I like to smoke for free at least. And then it just, you know. So the glass blowing thing, there was just a lot of crazy shit happening in my life at that time. Elmer, that's that fat fucking redhead's name. Then another one of these piece of shits I met from Gabe that fucking just was just, it's like every single person I met from this Gabe guy latched onto me and fucking ripped me off. A bunch of just leech motherfuckers. And this is the problem with being an empath. I'm like sociopath attracted. And a fag magnet too. That's a different story. So, there's another country fair. I just told all the country fair stories, totally forgot about this country fair. So I'm just learning how to blow glass. And I'm like, I met these two glass blowers. One kid, Dragon Tail, and he was like the artsy guy that always made the animals. And he was a nice kid, and he had long hair. He was a stoner. And then he had a buddy, and these two were just like this. And that other guy, John, Dragon Tail, I don't remember Dragon Tail's name. So they were glass blowers. Dragon Tail guy, he had a house over in Southwest Portland that he lived at, and he had his little station in a garage, right? So I can't remember where the heck I was blowing glass in between that little backyard and these guys' garage. And so basically I moved to these guys' garage and I built my blowing station. So I was always had skills and like fancy shit, so I built this whole framed up metal sheets on the inside, ducting fan off the back, torch on the front, lights, right? A nice thing. So, but this Elmer guy was the guy that financed it. By that point, so I don't really, like, this guy came into my apartment, was like, hey, if you buy all the equipment to learn how to blow glass, to start a shop, I'll teach you. And then somehow I learned how to blow glass, probably because it was so simple and I just like saw somebody do it. And it was like, boy, that's easy. So I can do that. And then, God, did I have a falling out with that guy? I don't remember. But anyway, I ended up in this kid's garage and I built this thing right in his garage. Then I started blowing glass in his garage. Well, that pissed off his landlord. And so we then found this warehouse space down off of Hawthorne where we had a shop for a while. Now this place was crazy. This is one of these rich kids that just, you know, nice guy and all, but, you know, a lot of times rich kids that grow up, I mean, worthless people in the normal world or in the counterculture world. I mean, they just, anyway. So this guy owned this shop. It was a huge warehouse and it had a little apartment connected to it. And his thing was bicycles. So he would build bicycles. He built me a bicycle. I had this purple 27-inch Nishiki road bike that I rode like all the time. My van got totaled. Oh, there's another story. We're in this shop now and we're blowing glass. I got my station, they got their station. We're all paying the Gene guy for a chunk of the warehouse. Everything was pretty stable there until somebody moved in the shop that some kind of something that just made like super messed up dust or something, like, or smells or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but basically it just sucked there. I then moved my glass shop. So I knew this guy. I was selling glass to his shop. Jason something. I always called him Jason Bad Kitty because that was the name of his glass shop, Bad Kitty. So he hooked me up with this loft space. And that was kind of a crazy thing because the guy that was living in this loft, so I just had like a corner with my glass station in it. So I move in there, and the dude that's living there is this guy George that I went to junior high school with. And he's freaking just into all kinds of shit. So I'm there for a while, and basically that place kind of turns into one of those situations where glassblowing was such an easy thing. Like, once you just see how it works, then it's like you could just do it if you're not an idiot. So George had his friends over there all the time, and they would just sit there and watch me, and I'm like, it was a secret. If you knew the secret, you had a freaking job, or you could work your own hours and your own schedule and make $100 an hour if you were good and smart. And some guys were good, but they weren't smart. I just didn't like the fact that there was people always there watching, and so and things were starting to get a little better financially. I was starting to make more money. I had with the Bad Kitty guy, he had done this catalog of local glass artists that would do production glass. So you had to give him however many pieces, and then you would reproduce those pieces for him as he ordered them. That was kind of like the deal or whatever, right? And he took pictures of them, and he took pictures of hot chicks, and he had a list of like 3,000 head shops all across the whole country. He did all the printing and did everything and shipped it. And part of who worked with him on this did a bunch of the photography, did the layout, and who was a partner in this Bad Kitty head shop was Frank Fallis. Frank Fallis being the owner of Boom Boom Room and Dante's and so many bars that have come and gone. I think he's owns part of Sassy's. So anyway, he's just a local guy that owns a bunch of clubs. I got tons of stories about him, good and bad. Ended on bad. They send this catalog out, and there's a lot of orders. Well, he's also got another partner on this catalog. Some dude, I don't even remember his name, which I seriously wish I never would have met him, because he introduced me to this other guy that turned out to be one of the biggest piece of shit rip-offs I had ever fucking had the displeasure of knowing in my life. So I don't remember this dude, but him and his girlfriend, they had a little house, and he was like a long-haired dude, and he had a computer. And this is 98, I think. And not only did he have a computer, but he had web knowledge, website, all that shit. So in 1998, you could go to, I don't even have a clue of the website name, because I don't even think I really had the concept down. Like, maybe I did, but blah 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 /Guda Glass, and bam, because I have my old business cards that I had drawn up by a pretty badass artist. So anyway, that was where a lot of orders came from. I mean, and that guy even would just have other people make my shit that I gave him when I couldn't supply him anymore because I was making too much money other avenues. I had this one line of pipe that I made. I called them the Astros, and I would put a Maria, or Marias rather. So what a Maria is you get a big hot gather, and then you push it, and it kind of makes this ring. A ring that looks like maybe like a Saturn's ring or something like that, right? or like the Jetsons, like those crazy rings that there's all over their outfits and stuff, right? And I'd put, 2, 3, 4, 5 on these pieces, right? And just hit them with a silver fume. That's it. No pattern lines, nothing. Because to make a really nice Maria, you need super even glass, right? So if you put patterns, it'd be uneven and that. So I would make these astro pipes, and I'd take them down to this, this is starting to get on now, the cops came in and they clubbed, just used to sit on blankets and sell the pipes out of a rifle case. But, of course, cops, fascists, Nazis have fucking come in and cracking fucking skulls of kids playing drums and smoking weed. So, it just became one of those situations where, I could just go down, and this dude's name was Jeff. And Jeff owned the hemp store there on the corner of the Saturday market. So the Saturday market had like booths that would just get put up every week, but then it also had like regular storefronts that were like permanent, that people would have all this stuff. Well, this dude owned the hemp store, which I still have a shirt that I got from him from back then. That's how good the hemp is. That shit just lasts forever. I wear it like at night when I just want to, like, I always have a t-shirt on, so it's at night, I'm just chilling, it's getting a little chilly, I'll throw this hemp shirt on. To this day, I got it in like 96 or 7 or some shit, I'd take these Astros down there, and Jeff would buy those things up every week, as many as I could make. But really, my cash cow on those were these little just spoons, they call them, little spoon pipes, the basic, simple, small, little pocket piece, and I just hit them with silver, no pattern, and I could make 20 of those an hour, and I'd sell them wholesale for $5. And I would just pump those out. Oh, I was pretty good at glass blowing in 96. Because in 96, my mom flew me to New York to see her. I hadn't seen her, I don't know how long it had been since I had seen her at that point. Years. Probably since she went to Spain. She went to Spain, moved back to New York. And then, so I went to New York with a fucking rifle case full of pipes, figuring I'm just gonna cash the fuck in. They're not gonna have this stuff in New York. I sold it, but I didn't sell it for a fucking huge bucks like I was hoping. Because that first few places I went into, I was trying to quote them prices that I would sell those pieces for retail. I wanted to get retail because I paid to ship it.